Wait, what the hell? Yo, Pops. Yo, wait. Yo, man. Yo, yo, what's up with you, bro?
What you mean? What's going on?
What's happening?
No, man, what's good? How your day going, bro? You all right?
I know for damn sure man's in quarantine, fam. Wait, what's going on? Why you dressed like this?
No, this me. This how I work. This how I go about my day, bro. You know what I'm saying?
But you ain't
I'm
going
on this
anywhere.
side. What you mean?
You at home.
Okay. This is
So
the front office ballers. Wait,
nah,
this is
nah.
life after basketball. This is my life. You know?
Listen, it's episode 6. Man's talking about business, man. Can you
Mhm.
with a suit and tie?
Just for the job that you want.
Yo,
The job that you want. That's the
yo,
message I'm trying
this is
to.
not a job interview, fam.
All right, you never know that. You're always interviewing, bro. You see? You're always
So
too busy wearing hats and
yeah, so
gallivanting,
listen,
dressing
man
like a
need a
hoodlum.
man's quarantine. I need a haircut. But look,
You're still
what?
dressing like Road Mike. See, that's
Yeah,
the
but
problem.
why today? Why today? Because it's business day.
Because it's business day. It's business day, bro.
Because it's business day. Man's got dressed.
Yes, yeah. That's how you gotta. That's how you gotta come correct, man.
I'm saying though, you could have warned me or something.
Nah, warning. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a mindset. It's how you have to carry yourself.
No,
It's
it's
how I carry myself, huh?
What you mean? Just
What?
today? Why you carry yourself the last 5 episodes?
Huh?
yo, funny guy, bro.
Because we were talking about we were talking about everything else other than basketball.
All right, well, listen. So you
wait. My brother just said something.
Exactly. Oh my god. Oh man. Hold
What's up,
yo. How you
I'm wearing shorts, B.
There we go. Oh yes. Yes, I figured it out.
What you figure out?
Someone said F you, Lou, so I blocked them real quick. I figured it out, man. yo, don't come in now. We done. Yo, I'm getting better at this.
Man, don't respond to them type of movements, you know.
Say one more thing, block, man. Where's Kieran? Let me find out. Wait till Kieran shows up. Yo, but your obviously the way you dress, you gave it away. The episode today.
Yes.
But
well, the flyer gave it away. The flyer gave it away.
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't know we're supposed to
It wasn't
follow.
supposed to. This is how I operate. This is my mindset now. You're recently retired. I've been retired for a while. You know, so this is just how I carry my day to day, and it's been a while since I've been able to dress up. It's the first time I put a shirt on in 6 weeks.
Yeah, but we've had 6 episodes. Why do you put them on every day?
Because we were talking about something differently. This is relevant
So
to what we're
depending
talking
on what you're talking about, you dress. All right,
Dressing for the occasion.
All right,
watch
when we speak. Watch when we listen. Watch when we talk about Africa. See how I show
up. Oh man. Wait till we get to the episode, bro. Wait till we get to the episode. You're lucky I didn't have a tuxedo on.
Yeah, man. But yo, so today we're gonna talk about obviously life after basketball. I should say life after retirement. But before we go there, we want to talk a little bit. Close the last episode, put it to an end. So I know you have something you want to address or say, and you got a lot of messages obviously following the last episode, which was very, 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 very spicy. Very, very, very
spicy.
Anyway,
Mando spices.
So go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. So obviously, we kind of created a little stir, which neither one of us really bothered about, because all we did was speak the truth. And my big bro says, the truth has no temperature. So whenever you speak facts, you got to be okay to hang your hat on it and live with it. And when I was talking about when I applied for that position on the board, something told me to go back into the archives or into my email and see if I could find that email, that particular email I was referring to. And I was talking to Benny today, and I found it. And, I was looking at the email, and although it doesn't directly say you're not qualified, it's actually worse than I thought. It's a little more egregious than I had ever imagined. Like, they basically told me they had been, it was extremely popular role, and they had been attracting a large number of high caliber individuals. And they regretted to inform me that I wasn't shortlisted for an interview. So to me, it basically saying it does say I was not qualified, but it also says you're not only qualified, you're not qualified to the point where we don't even want to give you an interview. And it was a very generic email, a very templated response, meaning they send it to all the candidates who don't make it to a certain point. And it showed me a number of different things. It shows me either they really just didn't care about who was applying, especially myself, or the people who were going through the recruitment process didn't run it up the flagpole. And I think there's got to be a accountability piece to it, where either somebody looked at my resume or looked at my application and just was like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Or nobody ever looked at it and just basically opened the application, closed it, and said you're not qualified, and just went on about their business. So it's even more. It jumps out even more, and it shows everything that's going on over there. And again, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. I'm here to tell the truth, and it's the truth. And I feel like we touched on it last episode, and it just shows more of the problem that is basketball in the United Kingdom.
Okay, no, that's perfect, man. For me, I got messages, and I just want to make it clear. I wasn't bringing it up because it's not, for me, it's not about, and first of all, for everyone that reached out to me and sent me a message, thank you for that. But, I wasn't addressing it because I want to be, I want to call up players who, play for the national team. This is not about, I already have a relationship with the players. I could reach out to him individually and talk to players individually. They could reach out to me. What I was bringing it up, the reason why I was bringing it up is because I think that we're talking about just basketball in general, not just the national team. Just because we played for the national team, we're not addressing it because of just the men's national team. We're talking about all different ages, all different groups, basketball grassroots. I have a camp that, we've been running for years, and we put a lot of kids into school through basketball. Why hasn't GB been part of it till today? Those are the things that I'm addressing. Why can't we do a program like that that's all year round and get the right people around it and do it for boys and girls where the programs are run, because we know what it takes to get basketball to that level. This is about improving the game, not just a team, not just the men's national team. Me and Pops are bringing it up. Obviously, that's our experience, but we're talking about all different ages, boys and girls. So with that being said, I think that we can move on. We did what we had to, we said what we had to say about it. If, in the future, if anyone has questions or want us to follow up on it, we're going to do another episodes that we just do questions. Right? So that leaves us to today's episode.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with how quick we went through that. I thought,
it was going to take longer.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to take longer, but I guess
it could, but we just, decided to make the statements and keep it moving. I'm sure, we'll hear more about it moving forward and stuff. But again, we put it out there, and we want to create a change, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. When this quarantine thing is over, I'm gonna take a shot with you for how well you've been improving. But let's talk about. We want to talk about transitioning. So for me, honestly, I want you to talk a little bit about when the time came for you to decide that you want to retire. What was that process like, and also knowing that you were about to stop playing basketball and go on into something else. So obviously I know you and we talked about it many times, but for people who might be in that position, or at some point everyone comes to this position where you have to move on and start something else. Can you give us a little bit about, you know, that process and what was it like? Was it easy? You know?
Man, it's one of the most difficult things I've ever had to come to terms with, if I'm being honest. It was 2015, I think, and I was playing in Greece and literally having my best season to date. I was leading the league in scoring and rebounding, and you know, my coach told me I was on my way to receive an MVP of the Greek league. And is there something wrong with the thing? Because there's no movement going on. I'm not.
Yeah.
Are you receiving messages?
Yeah. Why you're not?
Is it going up?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. I'm not getting
anything. Are you talking about your phone?
Nah, I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
I know what's going on.
Hey, just give me 2 seconds.
Because you keep changing location. I told you, man. You got to go to the same location.
I'm gonna join back. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna join back because it's up.
All right. Yo.
So we were at me talking about my retiring and coming and how I came to the decision to do so. So I was in a position where I was playing in Greece. I told you I was leading the league in scoring, rebounding, on my way to being named MVP. And you know, I was taking medication that I had just started taking. And again, I'm not going to disclose everything because the documentary airs tomorrow and it does discuss a lot of this stuff. So I definitely want everybody to tune in. So I'm just going to breeze over some of these parts of the story. So, you know, go through the season, about to be MVP, and thinking I'm on my way to resurging my career and revamping my career, I would say. And then I get a call saying that I failed a drug test. Mind you, I've never taken a legal drug a day in my life, and I knew it was my medication. And I called. You know, I had a meeting with ownership, coaches, everybody, to let them know that, look, I played in the NBA, I played in Europe, I played in the Olympics, I played in the NCAA. I've been tested hundreds of times, never even come close to failing a drug test. And, you know, tried to explain to them the whole process and what was going on. And when I went in for the hearing, when I walked in, I knew it was over. I knew it was over because I saw the way the judge was looking at me, and I saw the way he wasn't really receiving what I was trying to say in regards to my medication and how I needed to operate on a daily basis. And I usually take a positive approach to everything that I do, but then just that day, I just didn't feel right. And when I got on the plane from Athens to head back, I remember getting hundreds of messages, texts, tweets, calls, everything saying, what happened? We're sorry. And I found out that I had a 2-year ban. And at 31, 32, I was like, man, me getting a 2-year ban at this point, like, what am I supposed to do? Obviously, I fought the decision, and I go into I fought the decision. Then I get a job offer from the Players Association, and I'm big on signs. I'm very big on signs. And at that moment in time, I getting that job offer, it seemed like someone was telling me basketball was not the path I was supposed to go anymore, and my impact on the game was going to be in the suit now. So again, like I said, I kind of left some stuff out, but again, if you watch the documentary tomorrow, you'll get all the intricate details as to why exactly some of the things went the way they did. But my career ended against my will, and to this day, I retired 5 years ago, and to this day, that void has never been filled, and probably never will be filled, because you can never replace playing the game. What's it called? At a level in front of these fans, in front of everybody, that you live your life. You work your whole life to get to it, and it's taken away from you. Like, how do you handle that? And
we're saying that, not to cut you off, but we're saying that. But don't you think where you are now, you wouldn't be at this stage right now if that didn't happen? I mean, it's a blessing to play for as many years as you have. But don't you look at it as where you're at now, the position you're in? If you were retiring today, you wouldn't be in this position, would you?
Most definitely. And it's funny you say that. Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm a direct result of my life experiences. Everything I've been through, everything I've gone through, good and bad, I like to think it's the reason why I'm in this position now. Had I not been cut, had I not been, had I not been had to retire early, had I not had to work at the Players Association or do all these other things, I would not be a general manager today. And it's really, again, it's a sign. God, again, what God has planned for you is not what you have planned for yourself. And, you really have to come to terms. You really have to come to terms with your life and be very self-aware. It took a long time, and I know you and I spoke about it a lot. I remember we were walking back to the hotel one time, and I told you I was coming out of retirement. And I can't say the exact words that you used, but you basically said you can't. And for me, I was like, somebody who I hold close to me was telling me I shouldn't come out of retirement. And I was like, why? And then you explained to me that you felt like, well, you can explain what you were thinking when I told you I was going to come out of retirement.
I mean, for me, I saw, you moving up fast. I think that obviously we all wanted to see you, keep on playing. I wanted you to keep playing, but in all honesty, I didn't like the direction basketball was going in general, because I was beginning to experience some of it also, different, situation, but I was starting to see it. But what I saw was you were moving fast in terms of being a scout when you started working for MBPA. And I always said, like, you just had a way of, just people trusting you and getting things done. And you were going from one position to another position. Now you're a GM of, a G League team. And, and my whole thing was, don't go back to the stress. Don't go back to the stress. I know how much paying you not to play, but it's, you're more than just a basketball player. I remember telling you that exactly. If you have the brain and you know that you could improve and help not only, other players, but help system and basketball and situation, you should get into that, and I was really happy that you didn't get back. I didn't, I really didn't want to see you come back and, let's say, not that it would happen, but an injury or something, and now you're going back starting from what you've already built. If I didn't see what you built off the court, I wouldn't have said it, but to me, it just made sense. And that was just my advice, purely not even, thinking of how hard it is for you not to play. I was just literally thinking of life after and, what's going to happen afterward. Are you going to keep on playing, or are you just going to position yourself in this field to, to be successful after playing? I mean, no matter what, I think you'll be successful, but it's good to get ahead of time at the right time. It's a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a blessing. And, it made me sit back and think that as much as I wanted to play, I realized at the time that basketball, my play on the court wasn't where my impact was going to be. And I had to come to terms with that. And, it was very difficult and it took a while. It's still difficult, and I still struggle with it, which is probably why I play to this day. I still play 3-4 times a week and work out like I'm a professional athlete, and just because that's just who I am. And I think not only does it go a long way with players, it's therapeutic for me to compete, to work out, to play, because I feel like that's what allowed me to live this life that I'm living now and have the opportunities that I'm having now, because I used basketball to create all these opportunities. So I'm definitely appreciative of that, and definitely continue to use it to my benefit. So, speak to us about, with that said, you continue playing, and I think literally right as I had that conversation with you, you were getting ready to sign with the Lakers. Speak on that.
Yeah. So what's your question?
You were getting ready to sign with the Lakers, so you go from there. What happened as soon as you signed with the Lakers, and how did that all come about? Talk
You
to me.
know, I think, for me, yours happened all of a sudden. I think for me, I've been blessed and given time to actually think about what I wanted to do. I think I told you many times, I think when you look at, and a lot of people don't really get a chance to look at situation the way I looked at it. For me, I had to look back. I had to go from scratch of playing basketball. I had to go back to I've never ever when I played basketball, and it's a blessing obviously, but also working hard, I didn't think of my minutes. I always thought of my game. I went and worked on my game. I wanted to get better on my game, but I was provided, when I came to the league, or when I came to high school, I knew that when the game started, I was going to play. It was about being productive. When the game started, is let's win. Let me do what I got to do. Then I go to college, go to Duke, start at Duke, the same thing. Here's your minutes. I get drafted, and Chicago Bulls is like, listen, after training camp, after 7 or 8 games, we're going to start you. So by the 9th game, I was starting, and I would get ready. I'll go work on my game. I'll show up, and the minutes are there. You just got to play hard, get the job done, and get going. So, and then in the NBA, I ended up doing that for 13 years. 13 years I was starting, 13 years I had a major role, 13 years I was, counted on. When I signed with the Lakers, I had a hard time with, what I was being asked. It was the first time. I was asked to be a mentor and to really help the younger players. And I went and I did my best. I tried to do my best, but it was hard because now I was, all of a sudden I got to, think of the game differently. And then all of a sudden I'm coming off the bench, and, credit to everyone, but your mindset, growing up and playing the game so much, you become used to one certain way of doing things. I had a hard time trying to come off the bench where I was playing so many minutes, and now I got to think of, okay, I might get 9 minutes today. How can I be productive in those minutes? Knowing that some people, that's their whole career, and they become good at that role, but I struggled with it. So right away, I had to be honest with myself, and I started, preparing myself mentally. Like, how long am I going to play this game? It's still work hard, but when the time comes, I got to be realistic with myself and know that, it's time to step away. And I remember calling you, and, I called you and I said, Leo, listen, I'm going to retire, and I remember us having a conversation, and you try to tell me that, look, man, I've retired, you want to make sure you're 100%, you're not going to go back on this. And I remember telling you, nah, it's done, man. Like, I've thought about it, I've calculated it. I know that I have a bigger purpose afterward. I was confident in a lot of things that I've built, so I wasn't, thinking twice of my decision or worried about, the decision that I'm about to make. So I
How do
was
you
really
feel now?
prepared. Huh?
How do you feel now with that decision?
No, I'm happy about it. I really love it. I think that no matter what, you're going to miss the game. And it's not so much, the game itself. You just miss the atmosphere. You miss your teammates. You miss the people that you see every day. You're talking about, we don't have 9 to 5 or the weekends off. You're seeing the same people every day. You build a bond with everyone. And, it's also mixed, changing your routine that you've been doing for so many years. But honestly, I'm really happy with where I'm at in terms of the decision that I made, the things that I'm doing now, and also, business-wise, everything that I've been focused on, but also the things that I'm trying to, improve and build. So I'm happy about it. I'm in a good place with it.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man, and it's good. It's good to that you are in a good place because so many players retire, and when I was at the Players Association, one thing I learned was that so many players retire and then they go through this feeling of inadequacy phase, even if they have all the money they ever made in the bank and they had a great career. what do you do when you retire? Like, how do you operate? And, you know, speak to the mental health side of things and how you have to be, you know, really self-aware and understand where you are in that regard. Because me personally, when it happened, like I said, it was a hole. There was a void that I felt like was never going to be filled, and I know it wasn't going to be filled. And it was difficult for me to come to terms with that. And it took time. It took me really loving the work that I was doing, loving the impact that I was having on this side of the game, to be okay with being retired. Now I'm not. I can't. I guess I'm a little more used to it now because it's been a few years. But like, you have to understand. People tell me just because I'm still around the game that's great. That's the most difficult part for me.
Yeah.
Still being around the game is the most difficult part for me. I have to watch, you know, players play the game that I love and play the game that I still feel like I can play at a high level. There was a time I was scouting and watching players who I felt like I was currently better than, and players, and you know, I scouted internationally for the Spurs too, and then I had to you know, recommend players who maybe just a year or two ago I had to play against and I had destroyed. And that, man, I lied to you not, scouting for 2 years with the Spurs was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
You know, I
But
loved the game. I loved, you know, critiquing the game, watching the game, and using my basketball expertise to help the Spurs out. But again, every single day, y'all remember my first report? I was writing a report, and I said, and obviously I'm not going to mention what I was talking about, but I was writing a report, and I was like, I don't know if he should be in the NBA because he can't even guard me. And I had to delete it. I just hit delete. I just kept hitting delete because I was like, look, fix your mindset. This is your job. Be where your feet are and understand that. I came to terms with it, and I was like, man, this is my life now.
yeah.
Chase, what up? Go ahead. What were you saying?
Nah, I think it's the hardest when it's different. You left the game and went right into the game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's I can't imagine doing that. I mean, you know, it's for me. There's, you know, I still see games and I still see certain things, and I'm like, I can help that team out.
For sure.
You know, but at the same time, I have to be honest with myself and just, you know, just tell myself that I've moved on. I'm on to the next thing. I'm watching games now as a fan, but I really enjoy helping other players. You know, I still have teammates that I still text,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, I might just mention something about the game they're about to play or someone they're about to play, or, you know, I was always used to studying the game, and always telling my teammates like, yo, this guy likes to do this. Like, watch when he does this. And there's guys now that I'm still in contact with that every now and then I'm like, yo, you know what he likes to do. You got to take this away. You know, or I'll text some of my friends, be like, yo, the third quarter, this team, they're always trying to come and try to bury you. If you stick with them in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, they ain't going to show up. So, you know, so it's still there. The competitive nature is still there. And I think with you were right into the sideline. You know, so that's definitely different. But also, I want to talk about now, you know, with the basketball, you know, side. What else, or, you know, what else are you doing beside, you know, I mean, obviously you're doing stuff in Africa, you're doing stuff in Ghana, but how are you managing what you're doing, and also, you know, who's around you, or what's the team that you put around you to, you know, that you trust in order to, you know, to build everything else that you're building?
Man, that's a great question, man. You know, it was weird because when I retired and I got on this side, my fiance at the time was telling, I was like nervous. I didn't know how to go about things. I had played a sport for 10, 11 years, and I was like, well, now all of a sudden I'm wearing a suit everywhere I go, and now I'm on the corporate side of things to an extent, and I remember just sitting there, and she told me, "I've seen you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive an hour to go to go lift, then to go drive another hour to go play and drill and work out and do all these things that you were investing in your body. You put that same work ethic. What up, Daryl? You put that same work ethic into your path as a GM or your path as a scout or whatever it is you're doing, your results will be not only the same, but they could possibly be better. And that's what we were speaking to in a couple of episodes before, where we were talking about how, yeah, we're telling you that what we did in regards to us, sneaking in the gyms and working out, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and just working harder than everybody else to get where we got. But at the same, it may not relate to everybody. Some people may have dreams of being in the NBA, but it just may not be in the cards. And I never want to shatter someone's dreams. But if you're self-aware and figure out that, hey, if I put this similar work ethic into being a lawyer or being a doctor, maybe I become the best doctor I can be or the best lawyer I can be. And those results will show it through your work ethic. So that was definitely something that took an adjustment, but I ended up being coming to terms with it and liking it. And with that said, though, now that I'm a GM, you've retired recently, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you just became the president of the South Sudanese Basketball Federation, which surprises me as to why you don't have a suit on right now, too. So, what?
What you mean?
I was just saying, it's surprising me. Either
way.
See,
that's the problem, man. Titles, look.
No. See, that's the thing about me. Yeah, I'm a GM, and I'm technically considered a suit, but I don't look like or carry myself like everybody else who does my job. I like being in a suit. Sometimes I might be in a kaftan. I might wear chocolate to games. I might wear, some what's it called? Some traditional wear, because in where we're from, that's still considered a suit.
Are you doing an interview for GQ? What are we?
Every time I leave my house,
what's going on here?
It's an interview for GQ. I can't help it. What did Beyonce say? Some people were born this way. Some people woke up like this. I can't help it. Pops. This is how I dress and carry myself.
Hey, Pops, it's your first day in the 6th episode wearing this 4 t-shirt and hoodies. You man's over here talking like it's been coming dressed every day. Yo, just one day, it's been 30 minutes on live. It's just going there. This is
when people ask me, but that's because I can't leave the house. So luckily I like
the mentality, man. I like the mindset. Yeah. It's all about learning. I'm learning from you. You retired before me, so I gotta approach it like how you approach it.
Yeah, I learned from you and you learned from me. So now you're coming over to my territory, into the retired Vegas. What's wrong with you? To the retired life, and this is how we sometimes carry myself. Trust me, I love being in sweats and everything, but because I did something a certain way in shorts and a jersey for so long, I'm cool with being in a suit. I like being in a suit. I feel like it makes me, like, basketball doesn't define me. I really feel like it's my experiences make me who I am. So when I walk into a room, I never want anybody to be like, there goes that basketball player. It's like, no, there goes the GM of the Capital City Gogo. There goes the president of the South Sudanese Basketball Federation. Whatever I got on or whatever I've done prior to doesn't define me. Who the person you see inside is who is right in front of you.
So you like the suit, or you feel comfortable in the suit?
I'm comfortable in the suit.
You feel comfortable in the suit?
I'm definitely comfortable in the suit. Yeah.
Because sometimes they'd be tight.
Well, if it's made for you, then I know he ain't talking. If it's made for you, this dude just talking about it, Sears Calendar. My boy who wears nothing but JCPenney suits. Nothing wrong with JCPenney suits, but he makes a lot of money and he decides to get his suits from JCPenney. But if it's made for you, it shouldn't be tight. It should be, and that's how we carry ourselves in North London too, bro. This is just how we move.
Okay.
That's just how we move, bro.
Nah, I like how you shout out North London in there. It's smooth, man. It's smooth. But for me, I do have a couple of pictures with suits on. They look good. Suits are good.
Literally 2 pictures. His draft suit. The one time he wore a suit.
Let's not mention the draft suit.
Well, how many buttons did it have? 9.
Yeah. At least the crazy thing about the draft suit, I had the company at the hotel. It was a fitted suit, bro. It wasn't
Really?
even like, it wasn't like sent to me and I'll put it on and I'm like, yo, I had no choice. Nah, they were there. They were there. They, you know, measured it the right way, everything. But now when I look at that suit, I'm like, man, oh my God. But you know, for me, I wanted to, obviously everyone know how passionate I am about, you know, South Sudan. And I really, you know, just want to do as much as I can. So when I retired, I knew that I had a lot of offers and a lot of options. This is just, you know, basketball for me. I felt, how can I use basketball as a tool to bring a lot of other things into South Sudan? This is not just being the president of Basketball Federation. I don't want it just to be about basketball. I don't want people to think of it that way. Obviously, I do want to help all the, you know, young boys and girls that, you know, want to go to the next level and want to, you know, an opportunity through basketball. But also, where I come from, basketball can be used for a lot of other things. You know, you could work with so many different, you know, different people in different organizations using basketball as a tool to bring, you know, sports brings people together. And that's really why I wanted to change the mindset of how people view just basketball in South Sudan. It's something that we are naturally gifted at, you know, and we got to use it. You know, we got to use it to our advantage. And that's why I took that position. There's a lot of other positions that I could have taken, but to me, it came to a point where it's something that I love doing. I wake up, love doing it. So I wanted to take that side of it. With that being said, there's also other sides where, you know, when you're retired, the business side of things where, you know, you also want to be successful in what you're doing off the court. You know, I've never wanted to be just a basketball player. I wanted to highlight the other things that I'm doing. And this goes way back to, you know, I keep on mentioning Matthew Ryder, but it goes way back to when I was in England and Matthew came up to me and he said, you know, let's drive around. We got in the car and we just drove around England and he started teaching me, you know, the value of real estate. And just telling me, you know, this house, you could get it for this much, you could sell for this much, this area is going up. You know, Matthew told me about Brixton way before Brixton started booming and, you know, the gentrification and everything. So I started to, you know, take it serious because I was, you know, for me, and I told you this, Pops, with a lot of athletes, when it comes to something physical, we always want to try it, you know, whether it's like, you know, you saying you're a natural athlete where you did high jump, someone comes up to you and says, you know, let's play basketball, let's work out on the basketball, you jump right in because you're an athlete. It comes natural, you know. So for me, I wanted to approach, you know, business the same way. I wanted to learn, but the best way to learn is from individuals, you know. And with me saying that, you know, I know a lot of people know that now I work with Dave Gross. And for me, I learned so much. And the way I met Dave is through a friend of mine, Ant. And it's the same thing. After I met with Matthew Ryder in England, I sat down with Ant and we mapped out what I want to do. And I remember he said, look, this is what we have. This is how much we have, you know, in a bank. This is how much you're making. This is what's coming in. What do you want to put away? And what do you want to invest into real estate? You know, and I said, look, let's map out a way where I'm never stressed in terms of when I retire, you know, I have enough that that can take care of me and my family for the rest of my life. You know, I want to have enough where I'm spending, and I also want to have enough that I can, you know, invest. And that's where we started my company. And, you know, it took, with our strategy and everything we did, it took a few years to get to where we got to. But this is working with people I trusted, people that know what they're doing, and learning from them. But I approach it like what you said. It's the same mindset. You know, it's things that I had no idea about. I was going into meetings, but I was sitting there and I would tell, you know, Ann and Dave, I would tell them straight up, like, you know, what are they talking about? And we would break it down, you know, and I felt like it was the beginning of, you know, me falling in love with what I'm doing. I took it very seriously. And that's my message to, you know, to other athletes. You know, you're so successful in one field and you've made money, but you look at the other field as if something that you cannot be good at, you know. But if you're going to get into it, get to know it, whatever it is that that you decide that you want to do. So, yep.
Yeah.
So that's my business side of things in that term.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's dope. And I know, with that said, I remember we was speaking a few years ago, and you said something. He's like, "Yeah, I own part of that company, or I'm invested in that, and I'm invested in this." And I'm looking back, like, what kind of business is my man onto? And that's when I was like, "Yo, like he's not just a basketball player. You got to shift your mindset, and you have to start thinking life after the game, and start thinking bigger picture." And again, not a lot of athletes do that during their career, especially with the type of money that players make in today's game. That it's they think the money's never going to end. And I remember my boy Chris Bosh told me that it's a lot easier to run through $100 million than it is $100,000.
Yeah.
And people probably look at you crazy when you hear that, but if you think about it, when you make $100 million, you're gonna act and live like you make $100 million. Don't forget the fact that Uncle Sam is taking 40-50% of that, so you're down to $55-60 million off top. But you're still thinking you're making $100 million. You're gonna get the jet, you're gonna have the a condo, the house, all this other stuff, and the lavish lifestyle. And before you know it, you're on ESPN talking about I'm broke.
No,
And when I saw
exactly.
that, go ahead.
No. I'm just agreeing with you on what you're saying. It's it's a lot of people don't look at it that way, but what you just said about how fast you could go through 100 million and 100 grand.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds insane. The other thing too, with you mentioning Chris, with Chris Bosh, I remember, man, we used to sit on the bus and our conversations was so different than what most of other athletes would talk about. I remember Chris, and you were with Chris, and were you with Chris in Ghana when he was in Ghana?
No. So I went the year before, and he came the next year. I think I was still I was playing. I couldn't go on that trip.
Yeah, and it's conversations like that where Chris wasn't having conversations just about, I'm going to visit Ghana. We were having conversation of, what are you doing in Africa? Well, what can we do in Africa, or what are the business opportunity in Africa? What can we get done? And for me, I always, share my opinions with players. Even when we started doing the real estate class with the MBVA, I always want to give back in terms of what I'm learning. But I think it's also understanding how to learn, and what I mean by that is the approach has been wrong for, and I've said this before, in the past when I first got into the NBA, we were watching, until today, we're watching highlights or a documentary about someone who went broke, and they would tell you one way or someone went broke, and you try to avoid that way. And for me, the approach should be, people that actually became successful after basketball. What did they do? How can I copycat? How can I be a copycat and do similar things to what they're doing? What's the approach? That's the learning that you can't, teach in schools, following someone who actually done it and mentoring you, and that's really what helped me a lot. And I jumped on it right away. I wanted to learn hands-on of people that have done it, from talking to Matthew, even guys like, a lot of time, a close friend of mine, Stafford, who, has been flipping houses for years. And I tell people, you have to look at that. If you're a friend, if your friend is doing it, you got to, ask them questions and become close to them. How are they doing it? This is not just, I'm just going to go out there and just do it. It doesn't work like that, and that's really what I've learned from that. So.
Yeah, wow, and again, like I said, when I spoke to you about that, and we were talking about this guy. Shout out to Kojo, my man from London, the comedian, Hackney's finest. He's coming in to cause nothing but trouble, though. Just FYI, just don't look at the comments. I'm telling you right now, do not look at the comments. He's only here to cause trouble. So yeah, I heard that, and I was like, man, I'm not going about things the right way. I'm not thinking about things the right way. And that's when I was like, I got to stop putting myself and my family in a position so that they can benefit from this life that I've been able to live. And that's when I started leaning on you. We went to that real estate. I went to the real estate class with you guys, and it really opened my eyes and broadened my horizons, because I really wish I was thinking this way 10 years ago. Because had I been doing so, I would have been in a much better position or been a much more advanced than I am now. And thankfully we've been able to invest in some things together and do some stuff together. And again, I've shifted the way I go about things. Now, I'm invested in Ghana. We just started the academy, and we're starting an academy in Ghana. We started my yearly camp in Accra. We're going to do all across the country, and I got all that mode from some of the stuff that you've done, and I definitely want to continue to build on that. And also, and it's good to have diversity in your investments too. You can speak to that too. For me, there's real estate. I'm invested in a restaurant in New York. I'm also, invested in stuff in Ghana, because you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. There's different types of investments and different types of return on investments too. So, speak to your diversity and like maybe speak on some of the different things that you're invested in, or that interest you, that you want to invest in, maybe even in the continent.
Yeah, no, it's been to me, real estate is the one thing that I highlighted, and we did that article on Forbes, obviously, because
big article.
It really grew fast and became successful very fast. We believe in the concept and what we've been doing. Even speaking about what we're doing with Dave, with what we're doing with Vector 90, our opportunity zone, teaching people how to invest in real estate and what zones to put their money in. So that part really is what I've been getting a lot of questions about, because obviously the article came out. But for me, I've always, like what you said, it's always been a smart investment portfolio, and how do you spread your money into the right things. I could tell you so many things that I invested in,
right,
that if I mention it, people will be surprised, but I don't want to ever feel like I'm bragging.
Yeah.
And even me with my team, like finding out that, we invested a long time ago in UFC. I'm a fan of UFC, but for a while I didn't even know that.
And everybody's looking at me like I'm the crazy one, and he's the fan of UFC. I've never kicked anybody. I'm not okay. Sorry, let me stop.
What the hell? Listen, this is how you end up jumping people. You just switch. I just mentioned UFC, and right away you couldn't even remember you've been kicking people, and halfway through it you remember you've been kicking people.
No, I've kicked someone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yo, man. But yeah, no, so it's really, but I have to give credit, honestly, I have to give credit to a team that I put around me, in terms of, I committed to, fully understanding what the process is and what we're trying to do. I'll give you guys a little story with D3
Hold up. Before you go, shout out to David Gross, who just joined the chat. If you've got any questions, send them to David Gross right there. David A. Gross.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring Dave into this show too. I told him he's got a comment. Dave just said talk about just water.
Yeah, he's putting you on blast now. You ain't got no choice now.
Nah, it's I'm telling you, it's the team that we put together with Dave leading the team, obviously, and the way we just formed it. It's a story that eventually, it's something that I really want to be able to tell one day, that I feel that it's as important as my basketball career, but the impact of it is even going to be bigger because of just the strategy of how we do it. And we're trying to teach a lot of other athletes, or even just individuals that are trying to invest their money the right way, and how to spread their money, or how to invest their money wisely. It's one thing to just put your money in something and it luckily just happens. But it's different to do your homework and to know the laws and to actually strategize the right way. Dave said to talk about Just Water. So Just Water, we invested in Just Water in an early stage. Dave came in and we sat down, and he believed in, Just Water from day one. And getting connected with Will Smith and what his family's trying to do with Just Water, it was a no-brainer for us to invest in it. But I try to tell people we invested in Just Water before they even had a water bottle. This was when it was just an idea, just talking about it behind closed doors. And our team jumped on it. and we invested in it. And then we teamed up with Will Smith, and we went to the Bahamas, and we invested into real estate when in the Bahamas and Albany. And this is another thing that we got into together. So people that you work with, is important who you work with, because there's other opportunities that are going to open up. So talking a little bit about spreading your portfolio, that's part of it.
Right.
being invested in all these different things, but also the things that I'm passionate about. I remember going back to Africa and driving around, and I told you this story, Pops. We're driving around and I'm seeing everything, the struggle in terms of construction. I was seeing people building brick by brick, and it was taking forever. And I became very passionate in being a part of that. But I didn't jump on this just to profit from it. I really wanted to make affordable homes for people in Africa. And we started our construction company, where we teamed up with a company in the UK called Elcon. And Elcon is, the way they build with their machines and everything is a lot different than what's been, available in Africa. And that's going back and building affordable homes. And now I'm working with players in the NBA to get involved in investing in Africa and doing things like that. So it's definitely spreading the portfolio. We got 5 minutes, but honestly, I have a lot of questions. I have questions here, but when I log off, they're going to come off. So let me try to just, so Pops, you could talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, while he's looking for questions,
talk about your suit. Talk about your suit. Who made your suit?
Luke, you know what's funny? Speaking of collaboration and utilizing your friends, I remember I went to a game to watch Lou play against the Knicks. He was playing for Miami, and this is when I was at the Players Association, and I had to wear a suit everywhere I went. And he was like, "Yo, where you get your suit from?" And I told him. He was like, "Nah. Call my guy. Call this guy in Bangkok." And now I think I may have bought 40 suits from him. It's again, I'm in a suit pretty much every other day, and we have to. You gave
up my restore. You gave up the secret weapon.
No, I ain't say the name. I ain't say where. You know how many people are in Bangkok?
Yeah, but come on, man. Now I'm gonna get text message and phone call like, "Yo, you've been putting Pops on someone with suits."
All right. First of all, you can put whoever you want on it. Whether they're gonna look the same way is still remains to be seen.
What? So. Yeah, what happened? Anyway, look, I wanted to put this up because Dave is on here. Dave is on here, and I wanted to put this up real quick. But when we bring Dave on, he could speak more about his relationship, our relationship with Nipsey Hussle and Vector 90. But I met Nipsey through Dave, obviously, and when I try to tell people, what you hear about Nipsey or what you see, it's real. Nipsey had a different mindset, and I remember when I connected with Nipsey, he was already talking to me about ways, how do we connect, African Americans with Africans? How do we build that bridge in order to build back home, but also build here? How can we get our people to work together and connect? He was already moving different. He was thinking ahead of time. And I remember when, talking with Dave, and Dave is like, listen, Nipsey has the same mindset of, trying to build and trying to better his community, trying to do it the right way and bring in the right team around him. And, to me, it's something that I can't wait to when we bring Dave on here to speak about it. Because it's one thing when you see, quotes or you hear it in a song, but Nipsey was living it, man. Nipsey was all about it, going back to Eritrea, and everyone from Eritrea would tell you how close South Sudanese or just Sudanese in general are with Eritrean and Ethiopian. It's something that I was so happy, and I couldn't wait, for us to build that bridge. And it's something that we still, talking about doing, but when it comes to Vector 90 and how involved Nipsey was and the idea behind it, it's something that it's a story that I'm so excited to have Dave talk about. But I just wanted to bring that question up because it was such a good question. And,
so what you want to do? I know you said you had more questions. How many more you got? You think you want to go another 15 minutes? Come back, take some questions, and then.
Yeah, but do you want me to put up a question real quick before we go? So.
We can answer it when we come back.
Right. This is just about, you know,
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah.
We're about to cut off though, so I guess let's just
We'll
sign
talk.
off
We'll
and
talk
hop back
about
on.
this a little bit. So we'll be back in 3 minutes.
Here we go to 3 minutes. All right.
Okay. Nah. So
No, 3 minutes is fine.
I know you got a suit on, so you know I know you're gonna take.
I'm already good to
off.
go, bro.
You're probably gonna take the suit off.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the suit off.
All right. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Yo.
So,
I thought you couldn't hear me. What you? Yo, I thought you were gonna change.
I did. What? I did change.
You changed shirt.
I changed everything.
That's a different suit.
It is a different suit, yes.
Okay, so you weren't gonna change into a t-shirt. You changed into.
I didn't say what I was changing into. I said I was changing.
But why you change from a suit to a suit?
When you fly, why the hell would you drive?
What?
Exactly.
Yeah, when you're flying. When you
fly,
fly,
why the hell would you drive?
Bro, what is this complication? You just changed from a suit to a suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, but why didn't you just change? I mean, if you're gonna change, you would change
why
to something.
Ask why? You're asking.
But I'm saying
you're asking such simple questions right now, and I don't understand why you're asking.
No, seriously, this is confusing. So look, you probably changed like from a suit, right? Because you were like uncomfortable with the suit.
No, I changed because we're doing a different live, so it's only right that I change the suit that I have on.
So you haven't.
There could be new people in here who didn't see the last one, so I'm like.
But you didn't change your hoodie last time. You wore the same hoodie.
See, you're bringing up old stuff.
What you mean? This is the new you. So
Courtney said, "Can we see the suit pants?" Y'all cannot see the suit pants.
So this is like we got to get used to this. When we do live and we switch over, you're gonna dress differently.
Look, you move the way you move, and I'm gonna move the way I move. I'm from North London, and this.
I understand that, but that's the problem with North London. You keep switching the way you keep switching the way you move. How you move?
The cup you have in your hand is a team from North London, bro. It's you wearing the same shorts. You mans don't worry about what I'm wearing on what I have on down bottom. Okay.
What you say about?
You're gonna see.
What you say about what?
Your favorite team is from North London.
The best team in North London. I would listen.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that because this conversation is going to go a totally different direction.
Because you know clearly, we're not even going to go there.
Let's not do this.
No.
Lou,
we're not going to go
there. We're family
there.
right now. Let's
we got 15 minutes. All right, we got 15
minutes.
Let's
keep it this way.
All right, we got 15 minutes. But you know clearly.
See? You see that? That's why.
What?
So
anyway. So
okay, to everybody out there, everybody who asked the question on the last live, please send Lou by clicking the question mark.
No. We're not.
No, you have to, please. What's up, Will? You have to put the questions there so that he can pick them and we can answer them and make sure we address everything that comes up during this live.
Hold on, I'm just reading. I'm sorry, I'm coming close to the thing, but I gotta see it. No, I'm not gonna talk about that.
Why do I have a suit on? Why do you have a hat on?
What?
Just talking to myself.
I have a hat on because I need a haircut. I've been quarantined and I'm not.
Hey, Will, that's not even a question. My boy just asked who jumps higher.
What kind of question is that, though?
He said, who jumps high? He doesn't know.
Yeah, but we already said the height.
I'm just telling you it's a question that somebody asked. What you want?
But there's so many questions that have been going through that just leave it. We just don't point them out. We're not going to point out. Thanks for answering that question, by the way. You knew exactly who jumps higher, but you got to bring it up.
How you know he knows who jumps higher?
What? Someone just said something about the jump shot.
Who said that?
Someone said, I think it was Kieran, who said who has a better jump shot. But we're not going to go there. We just
block him. Block him. Block him, yo.
Yo, but anyway, can we go back to what we were talking about? Because this is just becoming just, I was just really surprised by the suit change. First of all,
I like keeping people on their toes. If you know what I'm going to do, then you can never keep up with me.
I was surprised by the suit to begin with, which, obviously I've seen you wear a suit, but I was surprised when I got in live. and you came with a suit, but then you went and switched suit to a suit. Bro, that's impressive. That's it's impressive. Only
Step
Pops
inside the
would do
booth,
that.
Superman is alive, man. You know how it is, man.
All right. Do you have, Pops, do you have any questions you want to bring up? Because I have questions, obviously, but I'm trying to find questions that we both, so please, everyone, send questions that we both can answer. It says, Pops, do you want to take this one?
What's most important in business relationships? I think the most important thing is that they are business relationships and you keep them that way. I feel like when it comes to business, it's difficult. People say it's difficult to work with families, difficult to work with friends. But if you have like-minded friends and family who understand that going into business, that this is a business, I think you can be successful. And if you separate your business from your personal life, you can continue that succession. Like, say, if we ever do anything or whenever we do stuff together, when we have those conversations, there's no joking, there's no Arsenal Tottenham banter, there's none of that. We're talking business. We're trying to figure out the best way to invest in Africa, to help Africa to do this. When we talk basketball, and when we talk business, and when we talk what's it called? About stuff off the court and about stuff that's not pertaining to our personal lives, we keep it as such. Like when we have those conversations, they're very deliberate and they're very concise and to the point. And Big Bro just said it, like honoring your side of the agreement is big, and carrying your own weight. Like now that I'm on the corporate side, people know me off the court and they know me how I like to smile. And I think laughter is the best medicine. I really like to make people comfortable. But when it comes to being a GM, when I walk into that room and into that office or into that element, I'm locked in, and this is who I am. And I'm joking and stuff right now, being in the suit, but more often than not, I operate at a level and in a way that says this guy's serious about his job.
Okay. No, I like that, Pops. I agree 100%. I think, my answer for that one, is similar to what Pop said, but it's really important that you take things seriously. I think the relationship is the most important part, or what becomes really important in a relationship is how serious you are about it. So, for example, when we teamed up, obviously, when I put my team together, it's important for me when information is being passed to me that I know exactly what's going on. I have to have my team, they have to trust me, just like on the court, that I actually know what I'm doing. When we go into that meeting, I have to play my part to a T. I'm not going in there and I'm going to make my team look stupid. We're going in there with a plan, and that's what we're going to get done. So the most important part, I think, obviously you want to have trust, but you build that trust. You build the trust that when things are sent my ways, that I'm prepared to know about them. I want to learn about them. First, when I meet with my team, I want to impress them that I know exactly what we're doing. And when we go to the next step, I want to step in there, just, I'm going to handle my part. You're going to handle your part, and that's when you go into things and you get things done. And if you ain't holding your end, there's consequences there. But, to me, that's the most important part. You take it as serious. I know a lot of people who made money who, do a lot of things, but they just throw it on the side. They're not serious about it. But you got to show that seriousness, that you want it just as bad. You're not just wishing for luck for it to happen. So that's my part on that. I saw a question. Pops, do you have a question? I don't.
Yeah, we have a few. I was going to speak to that though. Like, Big Bro asked, what are the biggest parallels to, let me make sure I get it right. He said, what are the biggest parallels and differences between being in the front office, Pops, and entrepreneurship, Lou, versus playing hoops? Now, for me personally, I think there isn't that big of a difference. When I first retired, I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to be able to compete on this side of the game. And I started learning about transferable skills. And, they asked me for my resume. And I was like, resume? I've never worked a day in my life. He was like, what have you done for the last decade? I was like, I play basketball. He was like, that's a job. And I was like, oh. okay. And then that's when I realized I possess these transferable skills, such as professionalism, chemistry. I know how to work on a team. I know how to lead. And there's certain things that you can carry over from being a professional athlete to this side of the game. And that's what fuels me as a general manager. Like, again, I haven't been in the front office too long, but I feel like I've got a PhD in basketball. I've played basketball half my life, and that experience has allowed me to do what I'm doing today. So I lean on that experience, and then I can acquire whatever other knowledge I need to on the front office side over the course of time. But those are the parallels in regards to the transferable skills. But the differences are, one is a game, the other is, the people who make decisions. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get on this side of the game was because we needed more of us in those decision-making positions. So, we laugh at me being in the suit and this, that, and the third.
Nobody laughed, though.
This guy, Kieran, this guy, yo. You laugh at me being in the suit and everything, but like I take that very seriously. When I walk into those rooms, I don't feel like I'm representing myself. I'm representing every player, every African, everybody in my family, everybody that I feel like I've done this for. I walk into those meetings and fight for them because I want to provide a mirror image to this younger generation, or to even current players, to see somebody that looks just like them in a position of leadership. So those are some of the differences and the parallels for me.
Yeah,
hey, Stephen, don't laugh at him. Don't do that, Berthier. Don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm talking to my boy. But go ahead. What do you feel about that?
This guy. No, I think I agree with you. I think that the approach got to be very similar. I think that, with me, I really hate not knowing something or not being good at it. What the hell are you doing?
Sorry, go ahead.
What was that?
I pressed the button and I was like,
huh?
Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'm sorry.
No, go. I think you put it back up.
No, it was an accident. I was just toying with some things here. But please answer your question. Don't worry about me.
So you just false. I don't. Yo, so nah, I can't.
Come on, man. You've been doing this for years, bro. Stay focused.
Yo, we put trees. I mean, I know.
All you ladies out there, there's two of us now. We good. This is what we doing.
Yo, what are you doing, Pops? Yo, we're serious, bro.
I'm being serious. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my God. Nah, but I hate. When it comes to business, I really hated walking. And this is to answer to Kojo's question. I hated not knowing what's going on, and for me, what I learned through sports was, Pops, I can't really keep a serious face with you doing this.
Did I do it again? I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
You're not even on the screen, bro.
I don't know how to get back.
What you mean?
Okay, here you go. I flipped it. There you go. My bad.
What's yo, okay.
I hit the button by accident.
Yo, I'm going.
Please.
Yo,
disregard that last 60
We said 15 minutes. We got to cut live, yo.
Yeah, we're cool.
Hey, Benson, come on. Where's Benson? What is going on today? Yo.
Yeah, I haven't eaten yet today, bro. I've been working all day, bro. I'm moving differently right now. It's so hot in here. It's so hot in here.
I'm actually like crying, bro. Like, what are you doing?
This suit is making me sweat, bro.
I mean, Coach, I'm sorry, man. Where was I? I don't even know. Yo, this was a serious question, too.
No, you were talking about the parallels and the differences between life on the court and life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, for me, so my approach always, I know what works for me, and it's always been, first of all, you have to be honest and humble with yourself that you don't know what you're doing. To me, it's the first thing to actually, going into business. You got to go into it as you want to learn as much as you can. You want to do everything it takes to actually know that type of game and what you're getting into. A lot of people think they know it, but to me, there's no way I'm competing with someone who went to school and has been doing it and they're successful at it. And I'm just coming in thinking I'm just going to come in and do better than them. You know, I have to listen to them and I have to take it. It's almost like when a basketball player or a vet is trying to teach a rookie, you know, the ropes and what they need to do. Your approach got to be that way. You can't just look at yourself as, you know, I'm just going to take my chances with this investment, or I'm just going to get into it, even though I don't know it, but so and so said it sounds good. And you just throw your investment or your money in there and you put all your trust in them. You know, that sounds great, whatever, and hopefully it works out for you, but you have to put the effort in and you know, be responsible with what you're doing. It takes work. It's not, a lot of people think just you know, you could just throw it out there and just, it's a lottery, you know, it's just going to happen. You know, 99 point whatever, it's not going to happen that way. You know, those that are successful are actually, you know, the majority, they know exactly what they're doing and they're putting the time in. So for me is, you know, pick out the things that you want to invest in and the things that you want to be serious about, you know, and put the time in. Just like everything else that you do, take it serious. Think of that one thing in your life right now that you take so serious that it can't just happen. You put work in. That's the same way you have to approach it. That's the mindset. And that's really, you know, where I see when it comes to sports and, you know, business and investment, you got to approach it with the same mindset. You know, you can't just go into it and not take it serious.
Man, that's dope. And you know, I think with that, we can transition to this next question. It says, given that you know you now have the experiences you do, is there anything that you do different? And for me, again, and I hang my hat on this. I feel like if I would have done anything different, I would have just made different mistakes. So I'm content and I'm okay with the way things went for me in my life on and off the court, because with those experiences made me the man I am today and put me in the position I am today. So I probably wouldn't do anything differently other than, you know, wanting to be drafted and, you know, hoping that would inspire, you know, a younger generation. I still, you know, I still would probably go about things the same way that I did, because it, you know, they motivated me, they determined me, and they made me the man that I am today.
Yeah. Would you still support Tottenham?
Like I said, I wouldn't do anything differently. If anything, I would probably end up playing for Tottenham. But other than that, no.
So you would still support Tottenham? I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just.
You see the color of my shirt, right?
No, I don't. I don't. What is it?
Blue.
Oh, okay. Don't you guys wear white?
But the part of it is blue too, and we have an alternate uniform. You want me to go get my Tottenham jersey shirt?
No. That's fine.
Okay.
That's
Because
fine.
I have like 4 or 5 of them.
No, the question was just if you would support Tottenham. It wasn't anything bad or anything. It's a good team. It's a good team. No,
Yeah,
I think. No, for me, I would say, you know, you go through everything. Honestly, you can't change. You can't be where you're at now and say, I'm going to change this or change that. I think for me, it's always about how did you come out of it? What did you do after it happened? Obviously, you want to try to avoid mistakes because if you already know it's a mistake, then you've already learned it some type of way, whether it's going through it or someone told you about it. And then you make that mistake. So then that's where, you know, that's when it's really, you know, bad. That's when it hits the fan, you know, you keep making the same mistake. But if I was to look back and I've made some mistakes and things didn't go the right way, I did learn from them, you know, but what did I do to actually, you know, get better? Or maybe I went through them to be who I am today. You know, that's really how I look at it. So that whole thing, if you go back, what would you change? Is very, to me, it's an answer that, you know, it's not a direct answer. There's so many different things that I wish went different way, but then certain things wouldn't have happened the way they happened. You know, and I know people, you know, ask me a lot of questions about, you know, would you win here? Would you assign this? Would you win that? Yeah, definitely. You know, I would have, and it's why I'm here today. You know, I wouldn't be making the decisions that I'm making if I never went through those. So that's how I look at it.
That's dope. That's dope. I got a really good question, right? And I might be solely directed to me, but it says, what books have you read that has helped you in the corporate world? For me personally, one book that I really, really love and really would seriously recommend is a book on emotional intelligence from the Harvard Business Review. And for those who don't know, emotional intelligence is the ability to especially if you're leading a group of people, it's the ability to inspire and corral a group of people who are working for you to end up having a common goal and work towards that common goal. And for me, always considering myself a leader, I really wanted to, I really wanted to find other ways to lead. For me, when I played the game, I tried to lead through example and through my emotions and through, my vocally. Now that I'm off the court, I can't be as animated and I can't go about things the same way. So I know I have to find ways to empower and inspire people. So, having emotional intelligence is something I can acquire. And I think reading that book has allowed me to unearth that and to find a way to get people to perform and be productive at a high level. So that's the one book that I've read that helped me for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who wrote this book, but there's a book, The One. Dave gave me this book a while back, and to me, it spoke to me a lot because it just talk about, putting the effort and that one thing that you're trying to do right now in terms of, we're very easily distracted. We're easily pulled into other things. But figuring out, what's that one thing that you really want is what I learned from this. And it really talks about just what would you do, how much would you give in terms of just to achieve that one thing that you got to achieve right now, and while everything else is pulling you, the commitment that you're making. And we know how it gets, and some of us are blessed to focus on one thing, but most of the time you're pulling different direction. But how do you really bring your focus level and your commitment and sacrificing into that one thing that you want to achieve first? And when you achieve that, it opens doors to a lot of other things, so yep.
Another question somebody had. You got a question you wanna answer?
No, I gotta look. You if you have a question already,
all
throw
right.
it out there. I'll look.
This one I think was directed, I think, to me. Any decisions you didn't understand as a player that you now understand as a GM? That's a great question. Man, for me, the day I walked into that office and started looking at things on this side of the game, or I think even when I was scouting, I realized some of the things and the way I went about things as a player, it opened my eyes to it. Like I said, I've been cut a few different times from the NBA, and I remember my second year in Toronto, they had signed all those other guys in my position. I went from being the sixth man to being the 12th man, and I wasn't getting much playing time. And we played against Milwaukee. I remember like it was yesterday. We played against Milwaukee. Not only was Chris Bosh not going to play, but Andrea Bargnani wasn't going to play either. And I was just excited, like, okay, now I get the opportunity. This also goes to your point about your mindset when you approach the game. Like, there was a time for 10, 13 years you were approaching a game. Why are you not blinking? Oh, okay. You were approaching the game knowing you was going to play 30-plus minutes a game. I approached every game just hoping I was going to get in the game and thinking when you get in the game, do something to make the coach be like, we have to keep him in the game. So my mindset was make something happen, whether it was a block, rebound, some sort of a play, or some sort of hustle that my teammates or energy that they could feed off of that would allow me to, stay in the game. This game, I didn't get in, and we lost, and I just didn't understand it because there was two of our best players weren't playing that were in my position, and I just knew I was going to play. Then I remember I was so competitive and so hungry to play that after the game was over and we lost, I took my jersey off and I was just holding it. And fast forward, what's up, y'all? Fast forward a few years later, my agent hits me up. And I get cut from Toronto and I end up in Russia. My agent hits me up and he was like, they particularly referenced the time after that Milwaukee game where the coach, I didn't know the coach was right behind me. And he was like, Pops was dragging his jersey on the floor. Now, if you're, the star, if you're LeBron, even Luol, whoever, or somebody that's in the rotation, front offices, GMs, coaches are going to be okay with putting up with some stuff or most stuff. Now, if you're anywhere from the 10th to the 15th guy, they don't want to have to worry about that. They don't want to have to worry about your antics or what you're going to do. They want guys, essentially locker room guys who are going to help the team on the court and also in the locker room, where they're going to be good teammates and good people. Now, if you've got somebody in the 12th man being disgruntled that he didn't get to play his 6 or 7 minutes a game, that's going to cause an issue. And I never understood that as a player. And it wasn't until I was a GM that I was like, wow, I would have cut me too. And man, it was crazy. It opened my eyes. And, you know, I definitely tried to go about things a little differently. I try not to judge players for how they emotionally respond. I try to teach them not to respond in an emotional way. But again, that was one thing. I could speak about many, but that was one thing that really stood out to me, that told me how to carry myself better as a player. And I wish I knew this, you know, a little earlier on.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm putting this up here, but you know, for what you're saying is so true, man. You find yourself in, you know, in a different role, and you have to make decisions that you don't see it when you're a player. And I think this also applies later on, you know, in business. You have to make some decisions, you know, that necessarily this is somebody you're cutting or somebody's salary, but, you know, the direction you're trying to, you know, get better as whether it's a team or whether it's, you know, an investment or it's a company. You know, you're trying to make the right decision because you're in a different role and you start seeing it. Mm-hmm. You know, and for me, I would just say that, you know, being the president of, you know, South Sudan Basketball Federation, I know that, you know, there's a lot of guys that I wish I could just have 5 or 6 teams, you know, but going on in the future, we're going to have to take the best team, but there's so many kids that play, you know, and you have to make those decisions in terms of what's better. And you don't see that side when, you know, obviously when you're playing, you don't think about it at all. You just think of yourself being in that. But now you're a GM, you're thinking about the whole team.
Bro, I gotta speak to that point. Like I said, I have been cut 5 or 6 times, and one of the times, here goes me again. My little screw loose that I had as a player. I remember they sent an intern to come and get me, and the intern comes and he's like, "Hey, the coach and the GM want to speak to you." And I remember the strength coach was like, "Hurry back." And I've seen this movie before, and it doesn't end well for the brother. And I remember telling the strength coach, "I'm probably not coming back." And I walk over there, I get into the room, and I'm sitting down just like this. And I'm looking like at the coach, and I'm looking at the GM, and I already know where this is going. And they're sitting there talking to me, and they tell me, blah, 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 you know, this contract, this, or this, where we're unable to keep you, and we're going to have to release you. And I remember my hands were on the table like this, and I balled my fist because I felt like I was being lied to. I balled my fist, and I didn't know they could see. And then I ended up speaking to the coach at like a few years ago, and he was like, "You know, I remember that like it was yesterday. I felt like he was going to flip a table and come across over there and put hands on us." And I was like, "No, coach, I was just hurt." Every time I got cut, I took it personally, and I got bitter. And fast forward to me being a GM now, it's like being a parent. You know, you give your parents hell when you grow up. When you become a parent, you go through the same thing. Now that I'm a GM, I have to cut players. And I lie to you not, those couple days during the beginning of the season, or even over the course of the season, are 2 of the most difficult days that I have to go through as a general manager. Telling the player that we no longer can use his services and that we have to cut him, like, man, it's mortifying, man. It's one of the hardest things I have to do. And if I could eliminate one part of my job, it would be that. And like you said, if you could have 5 or 6 teams, if I could keep everybody that comes to camp and not have to experience the same pain that I did when I played, that would make my life a lot easier. But the reason why I got into this position was because of those times that I got cut. If you approach this with honesty, integrity, and transparency, you know, it may hurt initially, but then you'll be able to, you're doing them favor by letting them know everything that they may have done wrong and how they went about it and why it couldn't fit the team. Hopefully they can build on all that stuff that they learned. So it's difficult, and but it is a responsibility that I take on.
Yeah, let's take a few more questions before
We shut it down. Yeah.
Yeah, so I posted this one because I think we spoke about this.
We can't see it. We can't see it.
What you mean?
You said you posted it.
No, it's on the screen right now.
It's not.
What?
There's no question on the screen.
It says, what message do you have for young kids chasing their dreams and looking up to you guys? You can't see that?
No, I can't. But okay, go ahead, answer it. I got it. I'll follow up.
Oh, okay. I think something happened to your screen, bro. I'm going to leave it up here. I don't want to take it down because I'm sure somebody out there sees it. If you see it out there, just wave your hands. Oh, it's just on my screen. Yo, anyway.
Can't see it. There's no
question. Yo, that's what I was saying. People can't see it. Pops, chill. All right, yo, so, no, so the question is basically, what message do I have for kids out there that are chasing their dreams and they look up to us? I think we said this in every episode, that, you know, for me, and I say it for all my camps, I tell the kids that, you know, basketball just opens up so many opportunities. You know, it opens up so many opportunities because, you know, not everyone is going to be a professional athlete. Not everyone is going to play basketball professionally, but, you know, working hard opens up so many doors. And what I mean by that is, you know, most of the kids that come to our camp, you know, they get some type of scholarship, you know, and for us, the biggest win, you know, is that scholarship. You know, what the kid does with that scholarship afterward is really up to them, but the opportunity is there. You know, you can go to school for one thing and become something else. You know, so for me, it's basically, you know, your dream, you got to go for it. You know, push yourself, give it everything that you got, commit to it, give it everything you got. You know, what we're talking about here today, you know, is something that comes afterward. You know, we're talking about, we retired. Mm-hmm. We're talking about, you know, for those people that are near retiring and what do you do, and people that are thinking about investment or business wise. This was the talk today. This is not about, you know, go give up your dream and pursue this. It's not at all. You know, I went after my dream, Papa went after his dream, and you got to. It will open a lot of other doors. What we're saying is, you know, use every resource that you're getting right now, you know, and you benefit from it later on. So that's really my message.
That's dope. My cousin just popped in, and my cousin Nana from African Health Now, it's a charity that I'm on the board of. So speaking of other stuff that we're doing on the continent, the charity, you know, when I played, I never really had anything that I could hang to put my name on the continent, because I didn't have anyone that I could, you know, say, hey, I'm starting this charity, I'm doing this business in Ghana, you know, run it for me while I'm playing. But when my cousin came to me, my cousin Nana came to me and told me she had started this nonprofit that provided primary maternal health care for women and children in Ghana. And I went to the actual clinic in Ghana and saw the conditions that it was in. It broke my heart, and I immediately jumped on board and tried to help out. So, you know, shout out to my cousin. Again, you know, trying to help the continent and the country as much as we can with all the resources that we have, and the network that we've built is part of our responsibility. I feel, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I think it's our social responsibility to give back to, you know, not only the younger generation when it comes to basketball, but to the continent in general. And, you know, being able to be a part of that is another way that I tried to do that. And I'm glad that she keeps me on the board. I don't know how I was able to get on the board, but yes, I'm on the board right now. But it's definitely something I'm passionate about, something that in a few years we hope to take it to higher heights. So shout out to my cousin Nana.
No, that's dope, man. That's dope. I think, you know, for me, I've been blessed, and I've been lucky to really be involved with the continent for so many years. I really, hold on, let me, Kwani, I'll get to your question in a minute. No, but, you know, I've been blessed, and I've been really, you know, lucky to be in a lot of things that I'm involved in now. But I've always wanted, even when I was a kid, I think for me, this is why it was so important for me to make it. And I think I try to tell all the kids from, Africa that, and my boy Flo always says this, he always says, what's your why? And
Ooh,
when you,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, and you got to make, you got to always kind of remind yourself what's your why. And, the bigger your why is, the more you push yourself, and I think for me at a young age, I was doing that without even realizing, I loved the game, but I had so much that I wanted to show. And I looked at basketball as a way of, a way for me to get an opportunity in so many other things. I didn't just want to just go out there and score 20 points. I just always believed that, this is going to open so many doors. It's going to allow me to do this, and it's going to allow me to do that. And knowing that from a young age is it's a credit to, my family and the people around me. And I'm speaking for all African kids, we, and not just even African kids, just everyone in general, but you have to make, your reason bigger than you. And I know a lot of times everyone says, focus on you and do this. I really don't believe in that. I really believe that, you have a responsibility to do what you got to do, but you have to understand that, your opportunity that you are being given, someone else would love to have it, and I know there's other people who have better opportunities than you, but you're in a position where you're ahead of somebody, and you got to make the best out of that, knowing that you'll have you'll get a chance to open doors for other people. And that's really my why. That's what was pushing me, and now it comes to the business side of the world, and it's the same thing. My why isn't necessarily just to be successful in business. And people always say, it's not about, yeah, it is. If you're successful, you get to do things you want to do. You get to control things. It's not necessarily just about you. You get to get things done for other people. So that's really the push and the why behind that. So
That's dope, man. That's crazy. Like I got that from Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker. He goes around speaking to corporate, to corporate offices, to professional teams, to college teams, talking about, what your why is. And, it's people always ask that. And, they just ask us what our why is. And for me, it's never been about what I wanted to do. I knew if the only time I looked at things personally was if I make it somewhere, look what I will be able to do for these other people. My why is, my family. My brother introduced me to the game. My parents wanted to make sure they were taken care of. The rest of my siblings. Joe taught me something at a young age, and he had a purpose and he had a why. He wanted to inspire and empower a younger generation through the game. So this is what I'm doing now, and this is what's carried me through my whole career. Every time, and to answer somebody else's question, like how do you handle adversity and struggles? Like I said, I've had 11 surgeries in my career. Every single time I was looking at that ceiling before I got operated on, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to get back? And again, I always refer to the Ashanti in me. There's no quit. I couldn't quit. Like, I could have quit after my first surgery and nobody would have said anything because I had an operation. But for me, and I always tell you, it makes for a better book. It made for a better book for me because now I can say, hey, I had 11 surgeries, but I still had an NBA career. I still played a decade. I still played in the Olympics. I still did all these things, even on top of that. I'm not one for excuses. I don't make them. And anytime I wanted to quit, I would always refer back to my why and my purpose. So definitely, definitely wanted to use that. Somebody said, Cammy682 asked a great question. He said, even after the pandemic is over, and hopefully it's over soon, would we continue this live every so?
Hell no.
Remember that, Berthier?
No, we've talked about it, and obviously, I think for me, Benson coming up to me and you telling me, let's do this. It's about time people hear about it. For me, there's so much that we both want to cover, obviously, and it's not just about basketball. It's bigger than that, and it's a path that, you know, I'm really excited about sharing it with people. But you know, it's way of looking at things that you could share with people, especially people that are trying to find out, you know, how do you do it, or how did it happen, and all that. And I'm all about that. And I think that bringing in other people too, that people want to hear from and listen to, and also, you know, from talking about being inspired by basketball and being inspired by Taylor in Bangkok, for you to come up and show your suits off today. You know, it's exciting, man. I mean, people got to see the two different suits. I can't even keep a serious face when my guys switch suits during the show, bro. Yo, no, but no, seriously. No, we'll definitely continue. I think we gotta go soon.
Yeah, we do.
It's do you want to talk a little bit about the next episode, or because, you know, we're going slowly towards, obviously we're going to take questions from people at the end, but we got to keep on engaging people in terms of what people want to hear about and what people want to talk about. So I think
I was just gonna say, in response to the question,
yeah.
To Cammy, like literally this was just us, my younger brother Benson, coming back to us one day. It was like, hey, you guys have a story that certain people may want to hear. We didn't know if 10 people were going to watch it. We don't really do it to have 1,000 people, but we feel like if we're able to reach, you know, one person and them to be inspired, or them to get some sort of direction or guidance through our paths and our journeys, then it's a success. And now that people are tuning in and getting, you know, and enjoying, you know, what we're talking about in our lives, you know, it's a conversation to have. And, you know, again, we wanted to make sure we provided something during this difficult time for people to give people hope, to give people, take their mind off of what's going on, and to, you know, be inspired, hopefully, by our path and how we was able to get to where we are. So, you know, it's a conversation. We'll see if there's a way to do it seamlessly and do it the right way. You know, we'll always calculate it and try to do things correctly, and want to make sure, you know, you guys get, you know, a good product that we put out. So, you know, it's a conversation for sure. So I'm definitely not going to say there's no way, but we'll see. In episode 7, actually, episode 7 is going to be the future of Africa. So be prepared to see what I'm wearing that day.
Wait, you're gonna from now on, you're gonna dress according to the episodes?
I don't know. You don't know. Now, if I don't know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You hear what I just said? You feel that? I just hit you with some knowledge just there. Now go think about that one, okay?
Yeah, I'll think about it. But yo, listen.
But that's fine.
No. There's a question here. No, there's a question here that there's a question here that talks about. It talks about you know, it's from Isaac. It says talk about struggle and I can't see it, and mindset. You know, talk about overcoming the struggle, like your mindset to overcome the struggle. I think we can answer this now, or we can answer it with the after the stuff. Huh?
So obviously you guys can see that Luol doesn't listen to my answers, because I definitely just answered that question.
You answered it when?
When I said every time I've had surgery, I've looked at it as, when I answered the why question, I answered the struggle and adversity question.
A struggle through your injury, or a struggle?
No, I answered the what's my why, and every time I had any adversity and struggles, I would always refer back to my why, and that's what got me through my adversity and struggles.
So you're talking about all struggles, not just the knee struggle or the surgery struggle.
It's a struggle. It's particular struggles. It could be any and everything.
So all the struggles, you go back to your why.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's my foundation. What keeps me going? I go back to my family. I go back to my heritage, what I learned at a young age, and what got me motivated to want to succeed. And so whenever there was something difficult that came up, any adversity or struggle, I would always refer back to that to get through it.
Yeah, no, that's sorry, I really didn't miss that part, but you think I missed it because I really thought you're talking about just in, you know, when it comes to sports or surgeries. With me, I think I've learned a way to, you know, I've learned a way to always make things better than what they are, and take whatever it is and turn it into a positive. And what I mean by that is, you know, for the longest, I really thought it was normal. I thought that everybody did it, but it's really not. It's a skill that you either have it or you practice it. And what I mean by that is, whenever something happens or you're going through something, you know, always remind yourself to, you know, two things. You know, one is somebody really has it worse than you. You know, someone is going through it worse than you, and the easiest way to remind yourself is really counting your blessings and what you have. And the second thing is always believing that this is really happening because you're going to come out better. You're going to come out better out of it. So it's going to put you through something, but the part of it that you're going through it, you know, there's a reason for it to make you stronger. When you start thinking of those things, you actually go through that rough time knowing that you're actually battling something, that you're trying to prove something out of it, you know, whether it's, you know, something not happening when you wanted it to happen. So you get better and keep working. So when that time comes, you're actually better than when it came. So, you know, it's different ways to do it. But there's people who something would happen and they turn off everything, you know, and to me, you can't be like that. To me, it's looking at it as if it happened for a reason and it's happening to someone else worse than it is. You know, the fact that I always tell people this, you know, growing up as a kid, being a refugee, I never really thought that, you know, coming to England was possible. And then being in England playing basketball, I didn't think, you know, getting drafted 8 years from coming to England is possible. But that, with that being said, I know that there's a kid in Africa that's more talented and would never ever get that opportunity, you know. And I always tell people the story, even with my wrist. When I hurt my wrist my rookie year and I had a surgery on my wrist, the doctor said they got to fuse it.
Show the scar again, please.
Right there. You know,
man got a C-section scar on his wrist.
Good. Yo, speaking about scars, bro, you had 11 surgeries. We don't even we don't even want to talk about. Listen, we don't want to talk about the map you could draw with those surgeries.
Man, this whole right side is my bionic side. I've had elbow, shoulder, eye, nose surgery all on this side of my body.
Yeah, but this is exactly what we're talking about, man. It's, you know, you go through all this stuff, but you come out better. But anyway, so I think, Pops, our time is up.
It is, man. It is, man. It's been dope, man. Appreciate it. Love everybody for joining. And I'm gonna tell you like this: everybody who watches this, it's inspiring to us because, again, we didn't know what to expect from doing this. We just wanted to put something out there that somebody could learn from, and somebody could take away, have a takeaway from. So just appreciative. I appreciate everybody joining NBA Live. My man Matthew, Benny, Benson, Rico Cole, Spice Adams, funniest man on Instagram.
Shout out to the guy in Bangkok that's making Pop soup. Don't forget that.
Respect.
We're changing at half times now. So every time there's an intermission in the future, we want everyone to change also.
Yeah. Also, for everybody that doesn't know.
Oh yeah, the
documentary's coming tomorrow, 7 p.m. on the Monumental Sports Facebook Live. You can check my page. The link is in my bio. Catch it up. I'm actually going to be doing a couple more No Mercy conversations leading up to the documentary. I have one with Chris Bosh, I think later tonight. I'll put that out there. Me and Big Bro are going to talk tomorrow pertaining to that. And then we have a couple other things. So tomorrow, catch the
No Mercy.
The documentary. Trust me, I'm tired, bro. Catch the documentary tomorrow, No Mercy, my journey to an extent to the GW Hall of Fame. So appreciate everybody and appreciate Lou for being a part of the documentary too. You'll get to see Lou make a cameo in there also. So thank you to everybody. Respect. North London, Tottenham's in the building.
Live it up. Peace.
Yes.